Welcome back after the break. Hansraj, remember over a cup of coffee with me, you mentioned that RJs shouldn't be seen. You know, they should be in the station itself. On the contrary, tumaku dikho television, you are also available on television. We have seen you. You to started with TV only, so about tomorrow opinion to ki hoga?
Of course, opinion has to change. Because at that point of time, I really felt like, you know, RJs and announcers, they should be behind the scene, like in the scene, and whatever they do, that, you know, the voice itself is a personality, so let the voice come out, let the voice reflect the entire persona. So that was what I felt initially, but later on when you get a chance, because like we being presenters, we being RJs, our basic way is to, you know, go up the ladder. So of course I'm into RJing, then definitely I would like to have my presence felt on the screen and things like that. But that also, it depends, like that also depends how selective you are, because I would go for some selective shows rather going for any type of show. I would prefer to go for one selective show. So initially, yes, I did feel, you know, like whenever I used to interact with the people, and like most of the people from whom I have learned about the radio profession, so what we used to feel was like, you know, it's always good to hear the voice rather than being seen on television. But later, you know, like with all the television channels coming up, and when they come and, you know, give you a proposal that why don't you come ahead and, you know, come and join us, and definitely that's always kind of a boon.
True.
So yeah, so that was it. And moreover, I felt, you know, there are certain restrictions in television, and they're also in radio. So, you know, there are certain things which you can't do there in radio, but you can do there, you know, in television.
But did you have this kind of, you know, camera frenzy or camera phobia?
Never.
When you first faced the camera?
Never. Because like I still remember, I started off with All India Radio way back in 2000.
Yeah.
And that was a completely different format, a very disciplined. And then after that, after 6 years being in All India Radio, I started off with Any. Okay, Any Hi-Fi came up at that point of time. So that was my first break in television. In fact, yeah, I really enjoyed the moment I was invited. I was asked to come over for this thing to face the camera. Well, I didn't have any problem of sorts and say, okay, chalo, yeah, let's give it a try. And from then on, like, you know, on and off, I've been on television and radio while I was doing, you know, shows for I was doing shows for Doordarshan as well. So it was always very nice, you know, though I felt like at one point of time, you know, you shouldn't appear more on television, because since I'm a radio person, I should stick to radio. But you know, when you get an opportunity, why don't you go and grab it?
But Mandira, let me ask you, you know, when people hear you, when your listeners, when your fans keep hearing you, they kind of instantly imagine of, you know, a figure, you know, a personality or a figure. They listening to your voice, they form a, you know, figure, they form a personality. So when they personally meet you, what does the reaction happen then? Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah, it happens a couple of times. I mean, it always keeps happening because people are so impatient. And that's what relates to my answer as well, to what Hansi answered. Like, you know, people are too impatient now to see us. Earlier, the radio concept was totally different. People didn't want to see. But now people are so anxious and so impatient. They would just come and flock in the studio, waiting there for hours. When we'll come, they'll just have a glimpse. So that keeps happening, and yeah, I mean, I really hope, and that's the second question that comes to my mouth, that I hope I didn't disappoint you. Do you expect me to be a little beautiful?
Okay.
Do you expect me to be a little taller, maybe a little more slimmer? Then he said, yeah, I thought you were Punjabi, I thought you were so and so. So these things always comes in, but then again, when we, you know, meet them.
Maybe because of your Hindi diction, they do question that.
Perhaps. So but gradually when we talk with them, when we just have a chat and all, like, they tend to forget that part. Yeah, and they accept what we are.
They accept what you
Absolutely.
are. So Aliya, what do you have to say on that? But you actually, on the contrary, started off with television. You presented news, you did programs. So then the radio beckoned, isn't it? How was that shift?
It was good, but more enuka hoisile je radio thakote besi private mane jane. The first question jeta muk dekhe etu nokoy je dekhibole enuka asil ba enuka first amar naam to kyo change korle. You're Ranjita and you're Aliya. Or enuka bahut hoise programs on moi live show kori asu, call ahe, guest is something else. It was a doctor, the doctor asile jab question huda nai, first question muk korise radio thaka swali janiye apuni hoy niki. মই কৈছো yes ঠিকই আছে মই জি ভাবিছিলো হেতু তাৰ পিছ আনসারটো মই নেপাল একচুয়ালি কি ভাবিছিল
কি ভাবিছিল ইউ ডোন্ট নো
আই ডোন্ট নো তেওঁ কি ভাবিছিল কিন্তু নাই মোৰ তেনেকুৱা কোনো মানে এনেকুৱা একো ড্ৰাস্টিক চেঞ্জ বা তেনেকুৱা হোৱা নাই মোৰ কাৰণে both the cameras and the mic are মানে মোৰ কাৰণে সেম মানে মোৰ তেনেকুৱা কোনো ধৰণৰ ফোবিয়া লাইক মানে ক্যামেৰা inka conscious inka. Yeah, one thing that I don't like is makeup, but I have to wear it. Radio is radio.
And one thing you don't really like is giving expressions.
Exactly.
And one thing you don't like is looking at the master cam. Okay, Hansraj, why is this pseudonym concept, you know, era naam thakibo lage RJ Hansraj, RJ Hansi, RJ Mandy, RJ Aliya. What's all about? Young viewers would like to know.
I don't know about the rest of the FM stations, but initially in big, you are not allowed to change your name. Okay, so I'm Hansraj. Hansi is the name my friends used to call me. You know, this fortunately, unfortunately, what happened, we had this first press meet right after the launch of Big FM. So my station head somehow came to know about this name. Okay, my friends used to call me Hansi. So the thing was like in the press meet itself, like he mentioned that name, Hansi. But otherwise it's always Hansraj. Even like when I present my shows, I used to say I'm RJ Hansraj. Similarly for Mandira also, we used to say Mandira, Hansraj. So
and
we
this
don't
Mandy?
change the names.
Yeah, even my friends used to call me in college. I mean, all my close friends. So I was like, name is Mandy in my gang. So that thing just came up. You know, that was actually pet name. And then people like we are like household parts now, household names. So we thought, chalo, let's that will be more familiar with them to connect to. So it's like Hansi, Mandy, Aliya. Maybe that's what happens. So, but in my case and as well as in Hansi, because we have worked together. So that's what it is. I mean, it's our original name. People usually think that it's not. I mean, why Mandy? Why did you damper your name? I said, come on, I didn't damper. It's like that. I mean, it's my name. It's that way.
Okay. But Aliya is from Ranjita to Aliya. You could have given Ranji or something like that. I know it sounds bad, but for example, why Aliya?
Aliya, because at that time, a cinema release was Chak De India, and there was a girl called Aliya Bose, and hey to Homai Day. Once upon a time, then again Mumbai, it's the movie. Once upon a time in Guwahati, I was very thin. ইমানেই বেছি ক্ষীণ যে মানুহে কয় অকমান ৱেইট দৰকাৰ হয় এতিয়া মোক কোনেও নকয় এতিয়া মোক অকমান ৱেইট কমাবলৈ দৰকাৰ হয় সেই টাইমত দ্য গাৰ্ল মোৰ মাই হেয়াৰ ৱাজ কালাৰ্ড ৰেড কালাৰ আছিল জাষ্ট লাইক আলিয়া বোস এণ্ড মই মানে টিভিত যি হয় সেইটোৱে মোৰ গাত হ'ব লাগিব মানে চেম ড্ৰেছ চেম হেয়াৰ ষ্টাইল একদম পুৰা ফিল্মি লুক so when I was working in that time I was working in Radio Ulala and ma'am said ki the movie had released and tum dikhne mein waisi ho so your name will be Aliya and I said ki Ranjita mein kya kharabi hai just imagine aisa lagta hai ek radio ke piche बैठी हुई है एक पुराने जमाने की हीरोइन लोग तुम्हें नहीं समझेंगे I was like oh, right it hoy Ranjita it's too long it's too old ये रंजीता नाम की हीरोइन के बारे में सोचेंगे कोई नहीं सोचेगा तुम अपना नाम छोटा रखो प्यारा रखो ये रखो
Aliya
and then Aliya
that's how Aliya was born
and now মোৰ মা এদিন অফিসত কৈছে ৰঞ্জিতাক লগ পাব লাগে then they said কি ৰঞ্জিতা ইয়াতে ৰঞ্জিতা নামৰ কোনো এমপ্লয়ি নাই মই কৈছো কি কথা 3 বছৰৰ পৰা কাম কৰিছে নাই আপোনাৰ মিছা কথা কৈছে মই কৈছো না মোৰ ছোৱালী ইয়াতে কাম কৰিছে নাই তেতিয়া মোৰ ভাইটিয়ে ক'লে আলিয়া Aliya Baijo, asset officer. So now Ranjita is gone somewhere.
Ranjita is lost somewhere. Yeah. A family affair or family functions, or how do they address you, Ranjita or Aliya? Basically, for example, your friends and your cousins.
I have many names. I have many names. So Aliya is another name mane. So tate gole aru Aliya naam to nohoy khali RJ, Miss RJ. আর এতিয়াতো মোক সবে কয় আৰু মিস আরজে হ্যাভ ডোন্ট টাইম নাই মিস আরজে হাতা সো যেতিয়াই মই নিজৰ ফ্যামিলি ফাংশন বা কি হবা যাও the only name is Miss RJ.
Okay, Miss RJ. Let's do one thing. All the RJs, we'll slip into another commercial break.
Sure.
All right, we'll carry on the conversation post break. So viewers, we are sending you to another commercial break. Stay tuned.